Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes. Does any superhero fan dislike him? He's so relatable because he's a teenager with real problems. The 90s cartoon introduced me to him, like how the 90s Batman cartoon introduced me to Batman. I'm going to rank all 6 Spider-Man movies from worst to best with my guest star James Riemer. Take her away.
Well, thank you for having me. So ranking Spider-Man movies. At number 6, I'd have to say The Amazing Spider-Man 2. They just tried to cram way too many things into that one movie. And the fact that they revealed almost everything important or fun within the trailer. The cast worked except the Green Goblin was just forced in because it was Spider-Man, so it had to be. Jamie Foxx as Electro was, I'd say, probably the worst part of the movie, where he was irritating and sure, he looked cool, but in terms of his character beforehand, it went from an irritating fanboy to a tool. Coming at number 5 would have to be Spider-Man 3. Had some good, it did the same thing as Spider-Man 2. No, not 2. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Too many villains, and the fact that Mary Jane was still irritating, Topher Grace wasn't needed, Venom wasn't needed, the script was constantly being messed around by the producers, the characters and storylines weren't exactly good and didn't really go anywhere. In the end, it was a giant mess. Coming in at number 3 would have to be Spider-Man Homecoming. 4. For me, if I really have to be honest, it would have to be my least enjoyed Spider-Man movie. The fact that Robert Downey Jr. steals the show, Michael Keaton was probably one of the better villains, and Tom Holland was good, but the problems I have with Spider-Man Homecoming that puts it only at number 4 compared to the other two is the fact that it has good characters and action, but what really lets it down is the other villains they use are borderline forgettable until the other movies are Sinister Six, and the fact that Tom Holland just talked a bit too much for my liking. The fact that it felt more like if the movie tried to play more for him and comedy compared to a good story. And it just didn't sit well with me compared to even the other two, which had some character development and the fact that Peter Parker or Spider-Man was actually learning and experiencing, to where this one is a new one, which sure can affect the way he acts, but to me it just felt like he was just talking and they were just going for more comedy than an actual story. Coming in at number 3 would have to be The Amazing Spider-Man. While it feels more or less than the other 3 on the list, it's better than Amazing Spider-Man 2 and even Spider-Man 3. Because, in terms of rebooting Spider-Man, sure, that's debatable, but it just, the Lizard, while sometimes working and sometimes not, was enjoyable for the fight scenes. Spider-Man and Gwen Stacy were the best part of the movie, to where they had some good chemistry, the action was great, it looked pretty nice, and the spider suit and just the way it just looked in general felt pretty good. And the fact that the only downside is Uncle Ben was once again a throwaway. Aunt and Stacy did almost nothing. compared to the Raimi trilogy and even Homecoming, to where she was just there because she had to be, and it had a good story. Coming in at number 2 would have to be Spider-Man 1. It's only at number 2 really because it was the fact that Tobey Maguire was okay, but the fact that he constantly cried didn't feel as believable as he felt like Peter Parker more than Spider-Man, to where Andrew Garfield was more of a Spider-Man than a Peter. Mary Jane was the most irritating part of the actual trilogy. The Green Goblin was fun beyond all belief, and I'd say was a better villain. It was the best villain out of the trilogy. Had some good action, but the soundtrack wasn't that good comparing it to other bits of music for the Spider-Man movies. And the fact that it felt like there was so much fun involved, and it was good, even though it felt just like a Power Rangers or a cartoon compared to a comic book movie. At number 1, I'd have, of course, Spider-Man 2, because it felt darker. It improved on most of the characters. Alfred Molina was a great Doc Ock, and it just felt like there was more character development, better action, fight scenes, comedy. It just felt better. It just did what a sequel would do and improve upon the first. I mean, I like the Green Goblin more, but Dr. Octopus always made that movie work more than Spider-Man, Mary Jane, James Franco. He made that, as well as J. Jonah Jameson throughout the trilogy. But it feels like in this one, it's like he steals the show, and like you could say throughout any of them, he steals the show. But yeah, I mean, the train scene alone is the best, and there's just so much weight behind Dr. Octopus sacrificing himself, to where the Goblin was fun and enjoyable, but Dr. Octopus just had more weight behind his actions than just crazy guy. And yet looking at how the Spider-Man universe is going, I hope after Infinity War leads into the next Spider-Man movie, I hope that Tom Holland changes more, because he worked in Civil War and Infinity War, but they just gave him too much comedy and just too much in Homecoming. That would be my rankings and opinions on the Spider-Man movies. James Riemer, see y'all later. Thank you for having me, Sir Ty.
Coming in last place is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I guess everyone feels it's the weakest. It's not a bad movie. It's entertaining but flawed. It's convoluted. I'm not saying it's confusing. It's overwhelmed and overstuffed. The parent subplot should have been deleted. It should have been finished in the last movie. Electro is a decent villain. He's nerdy like Jim Carrey's Riddler. Harry Osborn is introduced here. He should have been introduced in the last movie. Him becoming Goblin should have been saved for the sequel. Rhino is a minor character. He's really hammy. It ended on a stupid cliffhanger. Sony was really concerned about setting up their own shared universe, which they still are with Venom, which comes out next month. Coming in 5th place is The Amazing Spider-Man, the first reboot. Andrew Garfield is a better actor than Tobey Maguire. He's a better Spider-Man, but Maguire was a better Peter Parker. Emma Stone plays Gwen Stacy. She's a strong girl. Garfield and Stone have good chemistry. They dated for a while. Wizard is a generic villain. He wants to take over the city by turning everyone into wizards. Honestly, he would have been more interesting if these reshoots didn't happen. Marc Webb directed this rebooted series. He made Gifted, which I liked. The Webb series is darker than the Raimi series. Sony was influenced by the Dark Knight series. The tagline, "Witness the untold story," was a lie. We got the same origin story. This seriously didn't need to be another origin story. We should have just gotten a flashback or two. Coming in fourth place is Spider-Man 3. I guess everyone agrees it's the weakest Raimi movie. It's somehow the highest grossing Spider-Man movie at $890 million. Homecoming nearly surpassed it, only $10 less. It's convoluted. It's like the writers used every idea they had. New Goblin, Sandman, and Venom are the villains. Raimi dislikes Venom. He was forced to use him. Topher Grace plays Venom. He was fine. Mary Jane is no longer a tool. She's a three-dimensional character because she has her own problems. The green screen was lame, but I didn't notice it until I seen Chris Duckman's review. It's cheesier than its predecessors. Raimi got carried away. I honestly don't mind Emo Peter, but I agree the dance scene was lame. Coming in third place is Spider-Man. It's a beloved superhero movie. I was 14 when it came out, but I didn't see it in the cinema. It's the only Spider-Man movie I didn't see in the cinema. Spider-Man is cheesy, maybe not as cheesy as the Adam West Batman show. Green Goblin is entertaining. Some naturally find him annoying. However, he looks horrible. He looks like a Power Rangers villain. Mary Jane is likable, but she's a tool and a damsel in distress. She gets captured in all three movies. If Spider-Man 4 happened, she probably would have gotten captured again. The effects are mixed. The digital effects are lame. The climax was brutal. I'm sure some parents were horrified. Coming in second place is Spider-Man 2, one of the best superhero movies. It has a deeper story like Superman 2. Peter struggles with his double life. Peter's friendship with Harry is strained because Harry believes Spider-Man killed his dad. Aunt May gives Peter an uplifting speech, which implies she knows Peter is Spider-Man. Joel McHale has a small role. He plays a bank teller. Dr. Octopus is a likable villain. He's over the top, but not extremely. He's subtle compared to Green Goblin. The action scenes are fun. The train chase was great, despite the CGI. The effects mostly improved. The helicopters look lame. It's certainly funnier than the last movie. I chuckled several times. Coming in first place is Spider-Man Homecoming, the second reboot. I felt another reboot was silly, but I was so excited. It's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Spider-Man was introduced in Captain America Civil War. Tom Holland is my favorite Spider-Man. He nailed both roles. Robert Downey Jr. is still playing Iron Man. He is a minor character. His screen time is only 8 minutes. He was prominently featured in the marketing, so people were concerned this would be Iron Man 4, but that's not the case. Michael Keaton plays Vulture. He was great. Vulture is terrifying but sympathetic. You easily understand him. Homecoming is a high school movie. It was influenced by John Hughes movies. It's really funny. I laughed a lot. It has small stakes, but it didn't bother me. In fact, I felt it was appropriate because Spider-Man is a small-timer. He's not an Avenger. Thanks, as always, for watching, guys. My Twitter link is down below. How do you rank the Spider-Man movies? Which one is your favorite? The new game came out yesterday, I think. I won't be playing it because I don't have a PS4. I have an Xbox 360. I'm curious about Web of Shadows. I'm seeing Peppermint tonight. I'll talk to you later. Alrighty then.